What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So I'm really geared up, ready, amped up. Seen a lot of turmoil leading up to the Mayweather-Guerrero fight and fight card. I'm really looking forward to it. Boxing's been amazing um, in March, April, and we're starting May off right with the stacked card. I'm looking forward to it. I posted a video. Ruben Guerrero went off calling Mayweather a woman beater. Very funny video, and he was expressing himself. Um, Realistically, my I already did a prediction, so I'm not even going to get into that. But for the Mayweather Guerrero, whoever wins, give them credit as long as they win in a legit fashion. Um, I've already seen people lining up excuses. I picked Mayweather to win for the reasons I cited in my video, and I've already heard people lining up excuses saying, "Oh, Robert Guerrero moved up in weight." Yeah, he moved up in weight, but what happened to the other welterweights, the two welterweights he's already beat off of a layoff? Um, he was on a long layoff dealing with his wife's sickness. So how come Andre Berto wasn't able to stop him or even knock him down? So I don't want to hear that weight issue. Another thing in the sport of boxing, if you know your shit, you will know that a lot of times these fighters are big. People like Canelo Alvarez, people like Chavez Jr., Robert Guerrero. Um, there's a ton of people who are very big. Like they have a big frame. Adrian Broner, I think, is bigger. And then they just, being young, they can cut down their weight to meet all the weight requirements of whatever division they're fighting in, but naturally their walk around weight is much higher. So it's just something you can do when you're younger. Your body's pretty flexible. So Robert Guerrero, if you look at his frame, he has big, stocky kind of legs. He's 5'8", 5'8.5", and he has a wide shoulders, wide back. I mean, he has the frame that can make welterweight. I can't see him at like 168 or something crazy, but he has enough size to compete with the guys at welterweight and be successful at it. It looks like he has a chin. He took Berto's most vicious shots and never went down. His face started to swell up a little bit, but that's boxing. And again, he didn't go down. So, as far as the people making excuses as to why this fight, if Mayweather is to win, is not justifiable. It's bullshit. So just give it up. That's with all fights, not just this fight. It's with all fights. Give it up to the person who won. I wanted to take some time to talk about the undercard fights, though. I'm really looking forward to them. There's some great undercards, and I guess I'll start it off with Daniel Ponce de Leon versus Abner Mars. Now, this is Abner Mars in a new weight division, 126 pounds. We all know who he beat. He beat people like Darchinian. He beat people like Moreno and Eric Morel. He's beat those people in the lower weight divisions, and now he's ready. He felt that the only fights left for him at 122 were Nonito Donaire and Guillermo Rigondeaux, and due to conflict of interest, the Cold War between Top Rank and Golden Boy, he felt they tried to make a Nonito fight, offered him $3 million or something, and that fight wasn't made. So he said, "Fuck it, on to bigger and better things. I'll create my own career path," and that's what he did. So he did that by moving up in weight. Now he's going in against a seasoned, aggressive, hard hitter in Daniel Ponce de Leon. So this is really a 50-50 fight. And I've been saying that a lot on my prediction videos recently. But that's because I really believe it. I really believe it to be true. Every time I say it's a 50-50 fight, in my heart, I really believe that it's a 50-50 fight. And this is no difference. Now, Abner Mars, he doesn't have the most devastating punching power. I would say there's more snap on Nonito Donaire, his punches, and probably Rigondeaux. But where Abner Mars prevails is his tenacity and his durability. He's aggressive, but he's actually a lot smarter than people give him credit for. He's pretty crafty, and at a young age, he finds a way to win. Um, he can fight different styles, like more of a boxer. I've seen him be more of a brawler, and I've seen him do a hybrid where he's both. So I think that's where he excels in his um, level of confidence from the amount of fights he's had. He's had some amateur background. He actually fought Rigondeaux in the amateurs, lost to Rigondeaux. To my knowledge, it was a disputed loss, but I don't really know. Never seen the footage. This is just what Abner Mars' camp said, that it was a disputed loss. So I don't know if it was a clear victory for Rigondeaux. But he's had that experience. He's been able to provide his family with some new things because of the sport of boxing. So for that reason, he's dedicating his life to boxing at the current moment. It looks like he trains hard. I've seen him train. He's always working up a sweat. He's always in great shape. And again, he's very durable. He has tons of heart, and he finds a way to win. Personally, I thought Moreno would beat him, not because Moreno is a power puncher or anything like that. I just thought Moreno would be too slick for him, and he proved me wrong with that. Moreno, if you watch Moreno versus Vic Darchinyan, who's another aggressive kind of brawler, Darchinyan looked like shit against Moreno. So I thought he would have that same ability to be so crafty and stealthy with his movement that Moreno would make Abner Mars look bad. And Abner Mars proved that there's more sides and dimensions to his game. Props to Abner Mars. Daniel Ponce de Leon. I mean, what can I say about the guy? Just when you think he's done, he finds a way to come back. He just recently won a title. He's been in there with Adrian Broner, someone who's a rising prospect, and some people say he won the fight. I haven't seen that fight for years, so I don't remember. I remember it's a close fight. And what happens is when someone's disliked in the sport of boxing and they have a close fight, usually people are so easy to sway it to the person that they dislike. Like, it's a close fight. If it's a close fight, you have to leave it as such. It's a close fight. So in a close fight, that means it could have went either way, just depending on the people ringside, how they seen it, what they were looking for, how they scored it, CompuBox numbers. There's all kinds of things you have to factor. But Adrian Broner is not a liked person. Mayweather is not a liked person by and large by large groups of people. So it's easy for people to say, oh yeah, Castillo beat him, but then they never bring up the Castillo rematch, or Adrian Broner, he lost to him, because you don't really like the kid. But from what I remember, it was a close fight, and that really can't be disputed. So anytime there's a really close fight, it could go one or two ways. I definitely wouldn't consider a robbery in the Ponce de Leon versus Broner, because Broner landed a lot of good punches and exchanges. He didn't look as spectacular as he's looked against people like Escobedo or Gavin Reese or somebody, but at the same time, they're different fighters. Styles make fight. And another thing with Ponce de Leon is he's very similar to Abner Mars in the sense of he's a very prideful person. He has a lot of heart. He's aggressive. He's a power puncher. But recently, he's been kind of like more elusive to me. I don't know. It's harder to explain. But I really like Daniel Ponce de Leon a lot. That's why this is a really hard fight to call. In my mind, I want to say Daniel Ponce de Leon beats Abner Mars. And I want to say that just because he's more comfortable with the weight, and he hits harder, and he's been in there. He's seasoned. Whether you won or lost the fight, like the fight with Adrian Broner, we all know at least it was a competitive fight. He didn't get knocked out. Broner's been knocking out other people, and like after that fight, he was just steamrolling other opponents. So we know this guy is tough, and my heart wants to say that Daniel Ponce de Leon is going to win this for a variety of reasons, mainly his grit, toughness. He's a harder puncher, and I think that could be problems. His style, he just has a very awkward style to deal with. But it's hard for me to go against Abner Mars, because every time I have in the past, I was wrong. Like I told you earlier in this video, the Moreno fight. I honestly thought Moreno was just going to out-slick him, out-point him, and get a unanimous decision or maybe even a split decision after 12 rounds. And I was wrong. So I'm going to go with Abner Mars in a very close fight, a competitive fight. I don't see Abner Mars stopping Daniel Ponce de Leon. I think Broner is probably a bigger puncher at the weight, and Broner didn't knock him out or anything. So I would say Abner Mars via unanimous decision, but it's really hard because there's a big portion of me that wants to say Daniel Ponce de Leon is going to be too much for Abner Mars. But based on history, and I'm trying to get my prediction right, I'm going to say Abner Mars is going to dig down deep, have to make adjustments, and I think he's a smarter boxer, so I think he's going to find a way to skate to a unanimous decision after 12 rounds. So let me know what you guys think. A hell of a fight. I give props to both fighters, especially Abner Mars, to go into a new weight class and take on someone like Daniel Ponce de Leon, who has some momentum. He just won, as I mentioned, he just won a title. a big puncher, somebody who gave Adrian Broner problems. That shows you that Abner Mars has some fucking cojones. Um, so props to Abner Mars. The Mexican fighters, there's a lot of tough, badass Mexican fighters. Brandon Rios did the same thing. He moved up from 135 to 140, and he took on Mike Alvarado, his very first fight. There was no tune-up fight where he took a lesser opponent at 140 to get his feet wet, so to speak. So shout out to the hardcore, badass Mexican fighters who take on any challenge. Let me know who you guys think wins this. Daniel Ponce de Leon versus Abner Mars. What round? Leave your predictions, so we'll check in after the fight. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Until next video, it is Ego signing off.